Well, congratulations. By subscribing to an 800 number, you and your company have acquired one of the most effective communication tools there is. Your new 800 number gives you a competitive edge. It opens up a world of opportunities to increase sales, improve service, and build customer loyalty, and that's going to help you build your business. Hi, I'm Pat Robinson. In this video, we'll look at how to take full advantage of your new 800 number by making it a key part of your company's marketing plan. We'll talk to direct response marketing experts about some of the do's and don'ts, and to business owners for some real-life experiences. And we'll be passing on information, suggestions, hints, and tips you can use to build your business. One of the big benefits of having an 800 number? Positive customer perception. Look at this survey by Bell Canada. Companies with 800 numbers are trusted by customers. People tend to feel that a company with an 800 number cares about its customers. It has well-trained and competent employees. Its products or services are high quality.
Something that we've learned is in the United States, companies who have 800 service are perceived to be professional, large companies. So when a customer sees that we have an 800 service, sees the quality of our product, sees the quality of our advertising promotional material, they just automatically assume that we are a big, successful company, and we happen to be based in Vancouver, Canada.
So, that's great. Having an 800 number brings your company all sorts of positive customer perception. But just having it isn't enough. It's up to you to take advantage of it.
When you put in an 800 number, I think you have to immediately have the understanding that it's there, and it's there on every communication you have. It's the same as your address and your regular telephone number for your local customers. So if you can go with that mindset, it becomes a natural part of your marketing mix. It's as simple as putting it on your letterhead. Put it on any communication that goes out to your customers or prospects. Put it on your Yellow Pages ad. Put it on your invoices. It's a very inexpensive means of communicating the fact that you have this to your customers.
One company that's getting great results with its 800 number is Premier Envelopes.
When we first started this company in July of 1988, the intention was that we would cover the province of British Columbia. Because of our limited resources in terms of both financial and human, we concentrated in the Vancouver area at first, knowing full well that we wanted to move into the Okanagan, the Kootenays, the North, and the island. And our strategy at that time was, when we made the move into 800 service, that we would also make our move into these other markets, and particularly in Victoria, where we met with some instant success. What's happened with 800 entry is that it has become our outside sales force in our outlying markets, and to the point where now fully 40% of our business comes in over our 800 entry line.
Okay, let's get down to nuts and bolts. How to use your 800 number to build your business? Well, let's use a little creative license here and conjure up an example. This is Widget World, one of Western Canada's leading distributors of widgets. Now, the widget market, as you might expect, is pretty competitive. To help them compete, Widget World has recently subscribed to an 800 number. Bev Thompson is Widget World's sales manager and marketing whiz. She's put together a direct marketing campaign. 900 packages to be mailed out to new potential customers, not just in the West, but right across Canada. This will be the first full test of Widget World's new 800 number. Bev's a big believer in making her 800 number a key component in every element of the company's advertising and marketing. That's an important point. The whole purpose of direct response advertising, like Widget World's mailout, is to get people to act, to respond. And of all the ways for people to respond, an 800 number can be the most effective. Easy for the customer, fast, convenient. That's why it makes sense for you to put that 800 number front and center on everything you do. So let's talk about creating effective direct response advertising, starting with direct mail. Someone once said a direct mail package is like a cold call for new sales. The envelope is your request for an appointment, the letter is your call, the brochure is your product presentation, and the response mechanism is the closer for the sale. We'll look at all these elements a bit later, but first things first, let's talk about the list.
In order to get a list, there's a number of ways to go about doing it. There are what we call list brokers who do that for a living. They search out lists. There's a number of advertising agencies that will recommend lists for you and obtain them for you. Lists have become easier and easier to get, and it's amazing now how much is available. If you know the kinds of customers you're looking for, I can almost guarantee there's a list out there to help you gain more. You can have the best creative and the best strategy in the entire world, but if the customer isn't targeted properly, you've got nothing.
In a direct mail campaign, there's a lot riding on your list, and the work you put into developing it should be ongoing. Your customer base is probably changing constantly. Your list has to keep up. Now let's look at the direct mail package itself. First, the outer envelope, whose job is to stimulate enough interest to be opened. Whenever possible, the envelope should be addressed to a name, not just a title like occupant or general manager. In business-to-business mailouts, an envelope that looks like regular mail often has a better chance of getting past the secretary and right to your target. But that's not to say you have to keep it plain. If you've got a great offer, put it on the envelope, along with your 800 number. Of course, it's what's inside the envelope that really counts, starting with the letter. How well it's written and how easy it is to read are critical. Your letter should be personalized if possible, and it should begin with your strongest benefits and end with a call to action. Act now, call today, and of course, your 800 number should be clearly shown. How long should your letter be? Well, as long as it needs to be for your message. If the reader's interested, they'll keep reading, but if they're not, they won't, and that's a good argument for well-written copy. That brings up an important point. Whether to use a professional to write your copy or coordinate any other elements of your campaign. Well, direct response advertising is only effective if it generates response, and using the right type of professional or agency will get you closer to that objective. So, by all means, consider using a pro, but be choosy. Make sure you're dealing with someone who specializes in direct response marketing. Along with a letter, most direct mail packages include either a catalog or a brochure to reinforce the sales message. These should clearly illustrate your company's products and their features. Quite often, brochures and catalogs are filed away by customers for future reference. They're also sometimes passed around the office. So to maximize response, make sure your 800 number is boldly displayed on the back panel if it's a brochure and on every page of a catalog. Going back to that analogy of the cold call, the envelope, letter, and brochure have got you in the door. You've made your pitch and demonstrated your product. Now it's time to close the sale. Besides an 800 number, postage-paid business reply cards, or BRCs, are traditionally very effective. Postage-paid envelopes are popular too. They offer customers a confidential way to send personal information or credit card numbers through the mail. And in addition to a toll-free order line, a toll-free fax number is another way for customers to reach you. Many companies find that business reply cards account for around 60% of the overall response to their direct mail campaigns. The other 40% comes through 800 numbers. But what really counts is the quality of that other 40%. A customer who calls an 800 number is a hot prospect.
If you gave them an option of responding to you by mail or by telephone and they chose the telephone, they're prepared to be sold. When I say a hot lead, I mean they've raised their hand already and said, yes, I'm interested and I want more than just more information. I'm ready to talk seriously about what you've got to tell me. These people are your best prospects.
So Bev here is on the right track. Direct mail in conjunction with an 800 number is an effective way for Widget World to build its business. But it's not the only way. There's a whole pile of powerful alternatives. If your company markets business to business, you might consider advertising in trade magazines that are targeted directly at your customers. This type of marketing has a real advantage. Trade magazines are often passed around the office, so your ad and your 800 number could be seen by a number of potential customers over several weeks or months. The important thing is to get people to respond, so that 800 number should really stand out in large, bold type. If it's too small or buried in the text somewhere, readers will have to work to find out how to reach you, and chances are they won't. The bolder it is, the better its chances of generating response. Here's another powerful option, the Yellow Pages. A Yellow Pages ad in the markets that your company serves will give you excellent exposure. Again, your 800 number should be prominent, along with the words, call toll free. If it's available, spot color is a good way to make it stand out. Also, if you can offer your out-of-town callers things like same-day shipping, a Yellow Pages ad is the perfect place to promote it. Whatever form of direct response advertising you use, remember these rules of thumb to get the most from your 800 number. Don't just ask people to call, motivate them. Make sure your offer is clear. Give them a good reason to pick up the phone. Let your prospects know exactly what they'll get by calling. Tell them when they can call. If your 800 number isn't open 24 hours a day, list the hours it is open. And don't forget the time zone. A vanity number can make your 800 number easy to remember. But to make it even easier, include the numerical equivalent as well. Whenever you promote your 800 number visually, make sure it stands out with large, bold type, good positioning, and noticeable colors.
All too often, art directors want to create an artistic masterpiece, and 800 numbers, coupons, response devices tend to clutter up their art direction, and it's kind of the tail wagging the dog, when in fact, a direct response ad, be it use of an 800 number or a coupon, hopefully a combination of both, the ad is designed to promote and to accommodate those devices, not as add-ons to an ad. So I get very, very frustrated when you want to work with an art director and you want to do a direct response ad, and the instinct is to make the number as small as possible so it doesn't clutter up, the copy block. It has to be the point of the ad. And the ad also has to communicate why you should be using this 800 number and what information you're going to get from using this 800 number.
Your 800 number is your company's link to the world, or rather, the world's link to your company. To make the most of it, everything that carries your company's name should also carry that 800 number. Corporate items, such as letterhead, envelopes, business cards, labels, invoices, and promotional items or giveaways too, like pens, keychains, memo pads, calendars. It's simple. The more exposure you give your 800 number, the better the results will be. So far, we've looked at building your business with an 800 number using direct mail and print advertising. The next step is direct response advertising in the mass media, radio, television, and newspapers. When a company gets to this stage, especially advertising on television, it's not a bad idea to get guidance from a qualified direct response agency. But whether an agency produces your advertising or you have it created yourself, there are some commonly accepted rules of thumb to be aware of. In print, as we mentioned earlier, make sure your 800 number is bold and easy to read. The idea is to generate response. You could also give readers another way to respond, a clip-out coupon, for instance, that can be mailed or faxed to you. What goes for print goes for TV, too. Your 800 number should be shown prominently, and it should stay on the screen for a good portion of the commercial, not just the last 3 or 4 seconds. In a direct response radio commercial, the 800 number should be repeated enough times to be remembered by the listener. One mention isn't going to do it. Hopefully, the information in part 1 of this video will help you get the most from your 800 number by making it a key component in all your advertising and promotion. Over at Widget World, Bev has put the finishing touches on her direct mail package and is ready to mail out the first batch. There's just one thing we haven't talked about yet. What happens when it all starts to work and the phone begins to ring? Is your company ready to handle the response? Will you be able to make the most of every call? We'll talk about that in part 2.
We have some very well-established competitors in this marketplace. An 800 entry has given us the ability to compete with these well-established manufacturers on an even keel, and in fact even take advantage of them, because some of our competitors don't have 800 entry.
We had a distributor drop our product as part of the line that he sells, and it was delightful to have a number to say, well, can you just let your customers know that they can reach us on this toll-free number? And we converted almost all of them to continue as ATS customers directly.
Hello again, I'm Pat Robinson. In part 1 of this video, we talked about making your 800 number part of your company's overall marketing plan. Now we'll look at what happens when that plan begins to work. To take full advantage of your 800 number, you've got to be ready when the phone starts ringing. And step 1 is knowing what to be ready for. How much response can you expect? In direct marketing, that's the big question. Predicting the answer will help you plan for questions like these. Will your staff be able to handle the additional calls as well as their regular work? Will they need additional training? Can your present phone system manage an influx of new calls? Will your company be able to keep up with the additional demand and keep the promises you've made to customers?
You could have the perfect product, the perfect advertising and marketing pitch, the perfect direct mail piece, and everything could work perfectly, and you could get that customer to call you. If you can't fulfill, or if he or she is treated rudely, or isn't given the right information that they expect, you've lost the sale. So you've done all that for nothing.
The last thing you want is to become a victim of your own success. And there are 2 things you can do to avoid this. Stagger your mailings and test, test, test.
So it's very important if your business is small, and maybe it is only going to be 1 or maybe 2 people answering the telephone. Probably the smartest thing to do is to work out a plan where you stagger your mailings and don't just drop all 10,000 in the mail on the same day. Because just imagine if everybody wanted to call you back on the same day, you know. So yeah, you do have to be, conscious of that.
In direct marketing, one of the first rules is test, and then test again. So no one should go out and buy a list of any great quantity of names without testing a smaller quantity first to find out if it's going to work for you. Different creative approaches may work better than others. The placement of your 800 is one of those key ingredients. It could be that it works best in various positions. Always test in every way possible.
Even with testing, predicting response is not quite an exact science. With so many variables and unpredictables, the only rule is there are no rules. But generally speaking, the easier you make it for your customers to reach you, an 800 number for instance, or toll-free fax, the higher the response rate will be. If you offer a premium, a free gift, or some other incentive to call, the rate will probably increase further. And you'll get an even better response the more precisely you're able to target your list. At Widget World, our imaginary cartoon example, the first batch of mailouts have been sent. Bev Thompson, the company's marketing whiz, sent out a test batch of 50 3 weeks ago, so she's got a pretty good idea of what kind of response to expect. Predicting how many calls to expect is one thing. Knowing when to expect them is equally important. In a direct mail campaign, you can expect most of your responses in the first 3 or 4 weeks after the mailout. A magazine ad will generate that response over a longer period, a newspaper ad within days, and a TV or radio commercial within minutes.
Newspaper can be a highly effective way to promote a 1-800 number, and it gets a relatively quick response, but it's short-lived. As opposed to putting the 1-800 number in a magazine, the response is steady, say over a 30-day period, but it also can be quite long-lived because magazines end up in doctor's offices or dentist offices, and we've, in our research, seen as much as a year later, people will still be using the same 1-800 number from an ad that was in that long ago.
But all this preparation, all the predictions and assumptions and rules of thumb, everything comes down to what happens when that phone actually rings. If you think of every call as a sales opportunity and every caller a potential customer, one thing becomes clear. The person answering the phone on your end is critical to your success.
One of the keys to running an effective 800 number is to make sure whoever's answering the phone has knowledge of what the questions could be. There's nothing worse than being put on hold or referred over and over again. You have to remember that that person on the phone is actually like your sales staff. That's the person sitting across the desk from your customer. So they must be trained to have good telephone manners, always be polite, have some sales ability, and certainly be able to answer any questions or concerns your customers might have.
So the ability of that person on the front line as a communicator is critical. And one of the things you can do is take a temperature check. See how your company, if it's you that's answering the phone, take a look at how you are treating the people who call you. And listen, call your own company if necessary. Are your customers being treated the same way you would like to be treated as a customer?
Someone once said that an 800 number is like the front entrance to a store. Some people come through it to browse and compare prices, some to make inquiries, some to complain, and some come in to buy. But whatever their original intention, once they're in the door or on the phone, you've got two big opportunities. One, make a sale, and two, even if they don't buy, build customer loyalty. Over at Widget World, the calls are starting to come in, and for the time being, Bev herself is answering the phone. If things go well with this campaign, she's hoping to hire an inside sales rep for next time.
If you're going to hire someone for the telephone, it's a good idea to do at least the initial interview on the telephone and listen for a good voice personality that reflects the kind of image you'd like your company to have.
But whoever answers your company's 800 line, the following helpful hints and techniques will be very useful in building the business. Most customers will be calling your 800 number for a specific reason. Make sure you fulfill that initial need first before trying to make an additional sale. Once you do fulfill it though, by all means then try to increase the customer's order. Maybe offer a volume discount for large orders, or try cross-selling. If a customer wants widgets, maybe they could use some gadgets too. One school of thought says customers are unlikely to spend more than 25% on top of their original purchase. So be sensitive to their budgets. On the other hand, if you can double an order, go for it. Increasing the size of a customer's order is great, unless the extra phone time and staff time it takes to do so ends up costing you more than the additional sale is worth to you. Believe it or not, an unhappy customer can turn out to be your best customer if you can resolve their problem or complaint quickly. That last point is a good example of how your 800 number can help you build customer loyalty. A lot of companies have a dedicated toll-free customer service line. This not only gives unhappy customers a way to complain, it shows concern for the after-sale needs of all your customers. And your reward is customer loyalty.
When someone calls to complain, the first thing they're announcing to you is that they're a loyal customer, and they'll give you a chance to make amends for whatever it was they think you did wrong. And if they think you did something wrong, it's better they should tell you than go out and tell the average 9 to 10 other people, which is what normally happens.
I think any business that puts in an 800 line shouldn't just look at it as a sales opportunity. It's much more than that. It's a service line as well. Think of, there's an old saying that for every customer that does complain, there's 9 more who were unhappy but didn't. That line is your link to your customer. It not only allows you to upgrade what they may have already bought, it allows you to service, it allows you to take any questions or concerns. They can call if they have any invoice problems. It's not just a sales tool. There's a whole other value to that line that is just as important as increasing sales.
Here's something to consider. The calls are burning up your 800 line. The phone's constantly in use. What happens to callers who can't get through? Are you missing opportunities because of your phone system? Well, your local phone company can probably help you out with features like call forwarding, courtesy response, or call answer. Or use an answering machine, as long as your callers get a response, even if they call after hours. Whether you use it for sales or customer service or both, your 800 number gives you something else of tremendous value. Every time that phone rings, you've got a golden opportunity to obtain information about your customers and build up a customer database.
I think everyone these days has heard of the term database marketing, and it seems to be the direct marketing buzzword of the 90s. A database is simply more information than a customer's name and address, and what better way to get it than to have a customer speaking to you on the phone. You then have the flexibility to ask them what their likes and dislikes are, what kind of products they currently have they may have bought from a competitor. It doesn't really matter what kind of business it is that you're in. You're gaining further customer information to add to your file so that the next time you go out and market one of your products, you can target effectively, knowing what that customer likes and doesn't like. It's the difference between mass communication and a one-on-one dialogue.
The single most important bit of information you want to get and logging data on your callers is where did they get the phone number? Where did they find the 1-800 number? Was it a referral? Was it from an ad that you put in a newspaper or a series of newspapers? And you want to go beyond just learning that it was from a newspaper or magazine. You want to be very specific. What magazine, what newspaper, and so on.
We've sent a customer information sheet along with this video as an example of what you might want to use. Feel free to copy or modify it if you like. Over at Widget World, every time a customer calls the 800 number, Bev fills in the sheet. She also asks each caller where they heard about Widget World's offer. Knowing this will help her track the response to the company's advertising and, if necessary, make improvements for next time. The purpose of this video has been to help you get the most from your 800 number. Of course, as you know, just having an 800 number isn't enough. It's up to you to make it work. And hopefully over the past half hour or so, we've given you some ideas that'll help you do just that. Oh, one other thing. If you'd like more information on using your 800 number to build your business, give us a call on, you got it, our 800 number. We'll be pleased to help. I'm Pat Robinson. Good luck building your business, and thanks for watching.